What if your body burns the most dangerous belly fat only when you are asleep? Not during workouts, not during dieting, but during the hours you are unconscious. That sounds wrong, almost uncomfortable, because it challenges everything you believed about fat loss. You push harder, eat cleaner, stay disciplined, yet your belly fat still does not disappear. And that is where most people begin to feel confused, frustrated, even slightly defeated. Because it feels like your metabolism is slow, broken, or simply working against you. But what if none of that is actually true, and your body is doing exactly what it should? What if the real problem is not effort, but timing, not discipline, but biological alignment? Because the truth is simple. Fat burning is not about doing more, it is about timing. And the worst part is, most people block fat loss every single night without realizing. We have been told fat loss happens through harder workouts, stricter diets, and constant discipline. You sweat, you push, you feel the burn, believing fat is disappearing in real time. But physiologically, that feeling is misleading because fat is not actually being burned there. Exercise is only the signal, not the execution. And this is where everything starts to break. Because your body does not operate on immediate results, it works on delayed biological responses. You train, and your body prepares, but it does not yet release stored visceral fat. Instead, it waits, adjusts hormones, and marks energy that will be needed later. And that later moment is not during movement, but during deep, uninterrupted sleep cycles. This is why you can do everything right during the day and still see no change, because the real fat burning was never happening when you thought it was. To understand this fully, you need to see how your body actually processes fat loss. Your body does not burn fat instantly. It follows a prepare, shift, execute system. During the day, when you exercise, you are only activating the preparation phase. Your body increases insulin sensitivity, adjusts hormones, and signals future energy demand. But the execution phase, where visceral fat is actually oxidized, happens much later. It only begins when your brain and nervous system enter a deeply relaxed state. This state occurs during slow-wave sleep, when the body finally feels completely safe. No need to search for food, no need to stay alert, no need to react quickly. Only then does your body shift into repair mode and begin using stored fat. And this is where most people get it completely wrong. Most people go to bed thinking the day is over, but biologically, it is not. Their body is still running on stress signals, elevated cortisol, and lingering insulin levels. The brain remains in daytime mode, scanning, thinking, reacting, never fully powering down. And in that state, fat burning is not just reduced, it is chemically blocked. So even after a perfect workout, your body refuses to access stored visceral fat. You wake up feeling heavy, slightly bloated, and metabolically unchanged despite your effort. This is where frustration builds, because nothing seems wrong, yet nothing is improving. You start questioning your metabolism, your discipline, even your ability to lose belly fat. But the issue was never your effort. It was the internal state you carried into sleep. And until that state changes, your body will continue protecting fat instead of burning it. To understand this deeper, you need to see your hormones as two opposing managers. Cortisol is the daytime manager, responsible for alertness, focus, and immediate survival responses. It keeps your body ready, raising blood sugar, and maintaining a constant state of vigilance. But growth hormone is the night manager, focused entirely on repair and fat burning. It rebuilds tissue, restores cells, and uses visceral fat as fuel for overnight recovery. The problem is, these two systems cannot operate at the same time inside your body. As long as cortisol is still active, growth hormone is completely blocked from doing its job. This is not a matter of balance. It is a strict biological shift of control. So if your evening keeps cortisol elevated, the night shift never truly begins. And this silent conflict is why your body refuses to let go of fat. Now think about how your evenings actually look in the real world today. You finish your day, but your brain does not. It keeps scrolling, thinking, reacting. The blue light from your phone signals midday, keeping cortisol elevated far into the night. Even when your body feels tired, your biology is still being told to stay alert. Then comes one more email, one more notification, one more unfinished decision to process. Your nervous system does not see tasks, it sees problems that need immediate attention. So cortisol stays active, refusing to clock out even when you are already in bed. And then comes late-night eating, small snacks that feel harmless but change everything. Each bite raises insulin, telling your body that external fuel is still arriving. And without realizing it, you keep your body locked out of fat-burning mode. So instead of asking what more you should do, the real question becomes different. How do you allow your body to finally shift out of this constant state? Because your body does not respond to effort, it responds to clear biological signals. And this is where everything begins to change with the right structured evening sequence. This is not a list of tips, but a system your body already understands deeply. A step-by-step de-escalation process that tells your biology the day is over. Not through force, not through discipline, but through signals your brain can recognize. Because once your body feels safe, everything begins to shift automatically. And this is where fat burning stops being forced and starts becoming natural. The first signal begins earlier than most people expect, about 3 to 4 hours before sleep. You stop eating, not as restriction, but as a message that intake has ended. Because every time you eat, insulin rises, and insulin directly blocks fat burning. At night, this effect becomes even stronger, delaying melatonin and disrupting deep sleep cycles. So when you stop eating earlier, your body finally begins shifting towards stored energy use. And this is where the transition quietly begins, even before you lie down. Then about 2 hours before sleep, you change your light environment completely, because your eyes are not just seeing, they are signaling directly into your brain. Bright overhead light and screens tell your body it is still the middle of the day. So cortisol stays elevated, and your system refuses to power down properly. But when you switch to warm, dim lighting, something subtle begins to change. Melatonin rises, insulin drops, and your body starts preparing for deep restoration. Around 90 minutes before sleep, you introduce a counterintuitive but powerful signal: heat. A warm shower or bath pulls blood toward your skin through vasodilation, and when you step into a cooler environment, your core temperature drops rapidly. This mimics the natural sunset pattern your body evolved to recognize automatically. Lower temperature reduces cortisol, calms the nervous system, and accelerates sleep onset. And this is where your body finally feels safe enough to let go. Then about 1 hour before sleep, the focus shifts from body to mind, because unfinished thoughts keep your brain active even when everything looks calm outside. This is known as the open loop effect, and it keeps cortisol quietly elevated. So instead of trying to relax, you write everything down: tasks, worries, unfinished decisions. Once externalized, your brain stops holding them, and tension begins to release naturally. And this is where mental noise finally begins to fade. About 45 minutes before sleep, you can support this process biochemically if needed. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system. Glycine supports deeper sleep and temperature regulation. These are not shortcuts, but subtle reinforcements of what your body is already trying. Because the goal is not sedation, but alignment with your natural biological rhythm. And this is where your system becomes easier to guide into deeper recovery. Finally, about 30 minutes before sleep, you activate the most powerful signal of all. Slow breathing with longer exhales shifts your body into parasympathetic mode naturally. This tells your system clearly that there is no threat, nothing left to react. Heart rate slows, cortisol drops, and your body prepares for true deep sleep. And this final signal completes the transition your body has been waiting for. At this point, most people believe sleep works like a simple on and off switch. You turn off the lights, lie down, close your eyes, and expect deep sleep instantly. But your body does not operate that way. It requires a gradual biological descent. Because you cannot move from high stress directly into deep restoration without transition. It is like trying to stop a car at full speed without ever touching the brakes. The nervous system is not designed for sudden shifts. It needs a controlled slowdown. And this is what we call the sleep slope, a sequence your body must follow. Each step lowers stimulation, reduces cortisol, and prepares your system for the next phase. If this slope is skipped or rushed, your body stays partially activated all night. And this is why sleep alone is not enough. How you enter it changes everything. When you step back and see the full picture, everything begins to connect clearly. Fat loss is not driven by effort alone, but by timing, sequence, and biological alignment. Every signal you send in the evening determines what your body will do overnight. If insulin stays high, your body stores. If cortisol stays high, your body protects. But when both finally drop, your system shifts into repair and fat-burning mode. This is when growth hormone rises and visceral fat becomes the preferred fuel source. Not because you forced it, but because your body is finally allowed to function. All the pieces, light, food timing, temperature, mental state, they work together as one system. And when that system is aligned, fat burning stops being a struggle and becomes automatic. At this point, something important should start to feel different inside you, because this was never about you being lazy, undisciplined, or metabolically broken. Your body was never working against you, it was simply following the signals it received. And when those signals are misaligned, the outcome will always feel frustrating and confusing. You tried harder, pushed more, controlled your diet, yet your body still resisted change. Not because it refused, but because it was never given permission to let go. This is where everything shifts, not in your actions, but in your understanding. Because once you stop fighting your body and start aligning with it, results change. And that realization alone can remove years of frustration in a single moment. And when you understand this, fat loss stops being something you chase every day. It becomes something your body does naturally when the right conditions are created. You are no longer forcing results. You are allowing biology to work as designed. This is not about shortcuts, and it is not about extreme discipline or suffering. It is about building a system your body recognizes and responds to every night. So if this helped you see that you are not broken, just misaligned with your biology, then you are already closer to real, sustainable fat loss than you think. And if you want to keep learning how to work with your body instead of against it, stay with this channel, because the next shift might change everything.